We are back once again exploring the subterranean sector of the SCP Foundation. There are countless SCPs that either operate underground or are lying dormant without our current knowledge. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scary subterranean SCP monsters, part 2. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at 5, SCP-2385. 2385 is a subterranean network composed of undifferentiated human tissue. The matter is bioluminescent, with the tunnels that make up the structure winding and interlocking, forming a multicursal maze. 2385 has a single entry point. Attempts to either access or assess 2385 from the outside via tunneling and ground penetrating radar respectively have been met with failure. Due to this, the true size of 2385 is unknown. SCP-2385-1 and 2 are vermiform lifeforms which periodically grow with SCP-2385. 2385-1 and 2 specimens typically range between 1 to 4 meters in length. They possess humanoid heads which are connected to a muscular tail by a fatty midsection. 2385-1 will violently assault anything they perceive to move, including each other. 2385-1 will constrict incapacitated prey prior to consuming smaller organisms whole. Will also attempt to penetrate larger prey and consume them from within. Instances will wander 2385 with no apparent direction and seem to be solely motivated by hunger. Same. 2385-2 on the other hand are typically larger and are identifiable by fibrous growth over their eyes. They are completely docile and have never been observed feeding. They will converge with one another and seem to travel through 2385 with intent. Coming in at 4, SCP-4959 is an animate decomposed Pterosaur occupying a large stone chamber underneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent in Mexico. Foundation paleontologists have determined that 4959 is an abnormally large astacid Pterosaur. Approximately 70% of 4959's flesh is missing, leaving its skeleton exposed and visible. The remainder of its flesh appears necrotic but shows no signs of decaying further. 4959 is anomalously resistant to damage and decay, and samples taken show no abnormalities from expected composition except for high concentrations of iridium. 4959's eye sockets are empty but luminous with bright green light. When agitated, 4959 may also emit a multicolored corona of fire from its wings, skull, and neck. Extensions and wings of the main underground chamber contain several hundred animated bony humanoid and pre-pterodactyloid constructs designated 4959-A. These constructs are composed mainly of bones attached to a central ossified heart through unknown means and are often adorned with strips of decayed fabric, feathers, or precious stones. As its great size prevents it from leaving its chamber, 4959-A instances are nocturnally deployed through various hidden tunnels to hunt and provide 4959 with live food, usually birds, lizards, or other small animals. 4959 will then consume whatever food whole. All tunnels leading to 4959's chamber have been sealed with reinforced gates. A large live animal is to be deposited down a constructed shaft into the chamber weekly. I apologize in advance for all my bad pronunciations. Coming in at number 3, SCP-4947. 4947 is supposedly an annelid entity possibly native to Finland. According to data, 4947 spends much of its time underground, emerging rarely for unclear reasons. 4947 does not appear to require sustenance or sleep. Actual physical descriptions of 4947 vary between sightings. It has been described as anywhere between 0.3 meters and 7 meters in diameter, with either segmented chelicerae, an anterior sucker, or a canine muzzle. It is unknown if 4947 is sapient or even an entirely unique entity. 4947-A designates a series of faults located on the border between Finland and Russia. 4947-A is maintained primarily by collapses resulting from 4947's constant burrowing and does not correspond to any naturally occurring fault zone. 4947-A's primary anomalous effect is the creation of holes in the surrounding area. With the exception of 4947-B, landscapes and objects around 4947-A will develop gradually expanding holes on their surface. This also extends to living organisms. 4947-B designates several buildings, all of which contain at least one hinged door. Instances of 4947-B, along with everything residing within, are immune to 4947's whole generation. Due to the lack of information on 4947's physiology, as well as the nature of its anomaly, it remains uncontained. Coming in at number 2, SCP-903. 903 is an incomplete Site 19 utility tunnel that connects to the SCP containment wing with the Lambda laboratory wing. The tunnel is 3 meters in diameter, 50 meters long, and buried approximately 5 meters underground. Because of its incomplete nature, 903 is an empty concrete tunnel that contains no piping, wiring, or other utility equipment. It also contains an old rail system that consists of a single monorail that spans the entire length. 903 was originally used as a discreet and secure method of transporting SCPs from the containment wing directly to the Lambda wing. However, this practice was discontinued shortly after Incident 903-1, where the presiding personnel violated standard operating procedure and transported several SCPs at once rather than one at a time. The resulting incident is most likely what caused 903 to obtain its current anomalous properties. Access to either side of 903 is to be restricted to authorized research personnel only. The entrances must be sealed and kept under surveillances at all times. During testing, under no circumstances are personnel to enter 903 or attempt to cross it. Any persons attempting to do so will be subject to lethal force. Any test subject that has passed through or emerges from 903 will be immediately destroyed. And finally, coming in at number 1, SCP-630. 630 is a 130 meter wide underground glacier and at least 12 kilometers long, moving at an estimated 30 meters a year. It is comprised of what is theorized to be a mixture of water ice, which is an opaque black and does not reflect any form of visible light or electromagnetic radiation. Any sources of water exposed to 630 crystallize, forming ice which behaves for all intents and purposes as part of the original glacier. Personnel working around 630 report frequent auditory hallucinations, most often the sound of someone pleading or calling for help from within the ice. Staff have reported that over a period of time these hallucinations can create a difficult to resist impulse to make physical contact with SCP-630. Made with 630, the body ceases to reflect any incoming light, causing it to turn pitch black and rendered blind, deaf, and mute. Extensive testing indicates that 630 affects only warm-blooded animals, birds, and mammals. Reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates, and fish remain unaffected aside from going into hypothermic shock. Once exposed, these specimens are classified as SCP-6301. Affected subjects do not respond to any visual or auditory stimuli, instead feeling out their surroundings through touch and vibration, and will often follow walls and hide in corners. Over the course of exposure, 631 will begin to show lessened speed and motor skills and will eventually find a corner or enclosed space, curl into a fetal position, and finally cease movement altogether, which is usually what I do when I go home. Or at the weekend, I hibernate. As of right now, 630 is contained underground in the remains of a copper mine just north of Peru. The chamber containing it is to be brightly lit and sealed behind blast doors. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with that list? Were there any subterranean SCPs that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 3. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from part 1 of our list. Tavern Willard said, "Is Lucy a registered SCP yet? If not, how do we report her?" I don't know. What you do in your time is your business. You want to report me? Report me. Seth Wood said, "Are you my mummy?" I can be your mummy if you want me to be a mummy. Mummy. Eternal Communism 1974 said, "Lucy McPhee, what kind of outfit are you wearing? Probably the subterranean monsters made it for you. Lol." That's truly is an insult. You're saying like, you know, creatures, monsters living underground have made my outfit. Probably can't see shit, so my outfit looked like right? Uden said, "I'm a simple man. I see top 5 SCP, I click." Smart man indeed. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And probably go ahead and enjoy these bloopers. And until next time, see you later. 4959 is an animate decomposed Dinosaur fans, don't come for me. Some people really f***ing love dinosaurs. SCP-Peterosaur. Peterosaur is an animate decomposed Peterosaur. Me. You. Everyone. Foundation paleontologist it's fine, everything's fine. This time it's gonna work out great. Foundation paleontologists have determined that 49 damage and decay, and samples taken show no abnormal. abnormalities. I hate myself today. I'm agitated. I'm f***ing agitated.